Wayne asks a question there with Ryan Day saying the freshman running backs will play. Do you think both of them will burn their red shirt? Absolutely.
Oh,
Both of
yeah,
those
no
guys
doubt.
are burning their red shirt this year. You got 4 scholarship running backs. And we were just talking about who's playing in the fourth quarter of blowouts or who's going to get those reps in the blowouts. Like that has to be your 2 true freshman running backs because you don't want Quinshon Judkins out there. You don't want Travion Henderson out there in the fourth quarter. So those are the 2 guys that are going to carry you through a lot of the ends of games because they have to. And they both played well in camp. And talking with Sam Williams-Dixon and James Peoples, we got to talk to them both a week or so ago. And you can just the 5 practices that we got to see, you could see the growth in Sam Williams-Dixon just in those 5 practices. And James Peoples has been pretty much outstanding from the get-go. So those 2 guys are definitely going to play. And as I mentioned there, like I was trying to think who's the last like 5th-year senior running back, and it may have been DeMario McCall, who then eventually moved to corner. Like Eddie George. I mean, you go way back for some of those guys, but it's not something that exists really at Ohio State anymore. There's no point in doing that because you're not going to get that 5th year out of them. Like redshirting Dallin Hayden last year, how'd that go for him?
It didn't. Did a favor. Where'd he end up?
Colorado.
Did Prime a favor on that one.
And their number 1 running back immediately transferred when Hayden came in and went to Kansas State, Dylan Edwards.
Yeah.
So, yes, musical chairs across college football, of course. Josh Petty, offensive tackle, committed to Georgia Tech, so he was lost. And then the big announcement coming up at Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Everybody set your watches. I know, Steve, you are fully committed on these commitment watches to make sure that you don't miss a round of golf or anything because you got to be there when the 17-year-old commits or makes his first commitment, at least. But it's David Sanders, of course. Ohio State, Tennessee, Georgia, Nebraska. I'm understanding Tennessee's a slight lean, but Ohio State's got a good shot.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's the 2-1 betting favorite, or maybe even 8-5 at this point. I don't know, but I have a hard time believing Ohio State's going to come away with David Sanders at this point. I mean, they've made every bid that they could possibly make with NIL and playing time. I mean, I think Josh Simmons is headed to the NFL after this season. That opens 1 tackle spot. For some reason, the roster lists Fryer as a 1-year remaining guy. I thought he had 2 years left, but maybe he'll be gone too. I guess I need to investigate that a little bit more. But there's an opportunity to play a tackle at Ohio State next year if you're the best. And, so if he goes elsewhere, then, as my old high school basketball coach said to a kid who quit the team at halftime and walked out the door, he says, "Well, hey, good luck to you." So that's kind of my thought. These guys go elsewhere. Well, hey, good luck to you.
I didn't realize you played basketball with Kayvon Pope.
Well, hey, good luck to you. Yeah, this kid, he was honestly, how you wear a jacket and tie to the game. The coaches are huddling over in the hallway, getting the strategy down to come in and talk to the team. They'd give the kid 2 minutes. He already had his uniform off and his shirt and was putting his tie on, was grabbing his jacket. And they go, "Hey, man, where are you going?" He goes, "I'm out, man. I can't do this anymore." He goes, "Well, hey, man, good luck to you."
Couldn't waste another 45 minutes of his life, could he?
Nope,
to
he was
sit through
done.
that second
I
half.
played in the first half, wasn't going to play in the second half. He was gone.
One note on the AP poll that was released this week. I understand that somebody else did this research for me, so I'll credit whomever out there. 18 times Ohio State has been ranked number 1 or 2 in the preseason poll and never won a national championships. So the 8 claimed national championships came from other positions within the poll, apparently.
That's crazy. Of course.
And only 11 number 1s since 1950 finished number 1.
Yeah. I know the year with Tressel in 02, I think they were like 10, 11, 12. I'm not sure what they were in 14, coming off the 2 losses to end the 13 season. Probably in that 8, 9, 10 range, I would bet. But then the world found out about Joey Bosa and Ezekiel Elliott, didn't they? So found out all about them.
They were number 5 in 2014 preseason rank.
Good.
And then they took the tumble after week 1 in the injury and the close win against Navy.
All the way down in the teens somewhere. Maybe, I don't know, did they even drop to 21 or something like that? They were way down there.
Well, after Virginia Tech, yeah.
Yeah,
they
dropped
to 22.
Yeah.
22.
Wow.
And then the Red Sea parted.
I would like to take a smidge of credit for that because I walked in the next Monday and I took off the national championship game. I took that date off of work. I marked it down. I told my boss, I want this. He said, "What are you taking that off?" I said, "For the national championship game." And he said, "Ohio State just lost." And I said, "National championship game, taking it off. We're digging in on this one."
Now, how could that have not been an all hands on deck day at the mothership?
I did pretty well missing national championship games for a long, long time. I'm trying to think. I must have been off. Yeah, I was a Friday, Saturday off at that point. So, yeah, I had to work the championship games. But
yeah, the worldwide leader.
There was plenty of personnel there.
Yeah. Somebody remarked that curiously, all the schools that Paul Feinbaum has been down on in the last few weeks are all schools that ESPN curiously does not have any rights to cover their games. So, kind of a curious thing there. So,
yeah, I think I'm interested something there.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how much Gary Danielson likes the Big Ten again when his first game is covering Akron at Ohio State.
The Home Depot Big Ten on CBS. This is CBS.
Well, more importantly, Tony, what are you covering this week?
Well, as Steve said, we'll be on campus tomorrow talking to the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator. I already today have wrote about Tigger Shabola and that competition and what Ryan Day had to say about him at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Also, threw a notebook up there with some thoughts from Chip Kelly on Julian Sayin and Jordan Hancock with thoughts on himself coming back second year at nickel. And then we're dropping an episode of Buckeye Weekly here in the next couple of hours, talking about some over-unders on the Ohio State football season from listeners. They gave us some situations and some numbers, so we discussed over-unders on those, and then we'll have a second episode doing that, dropping tomorrow afternoon as well. Buckeye Weekly Podcast.
Steve.
Just what Tony largely said. We'll be covering a lot of the same events here the next week or so. We'll get back in on some position group interviews next week. This was a week where they kind of shut the media out and shut out a lot of the noise, and this was a heavy work week, believe me, for this team as they are preparing. They'll move toward game prep middle of next week. Obviously, how much you're going to work on preparing to play Akron, but it's more about systems, and this is how we're going to handle this in a game, and this is how we line up, and this is what we do, and those type of things. So dress rehearsal type stuff. But we're getting there. We are hurtling toward it at the speed of light. 17 days from now, I'll be leaving my house at about 12 o'clock and maneuvering through the traffic, through my back way, different ways to get into the stadium. I always love for those early season games to get off and go down 15th Avenue where all the fraternities and sororities are, because it is just so much activity and people are outside partying in the front yard of all the fraternities and sororities. And that's when that college football is back, that, you've got all the people going crazy and getting ready for the game and everything. And then finally get down there to the stadium, get parked, and go in and eat the food, whatever that is that they've got laid out. Hopefully it will not be breakfast for a 3:30 game. And then, I have my traditions. I try and shoot the pregame band show, go down and help out with the prospects on the track and all these different things. And, really looking forward to it. So, yeah, should be a fun season coming up, and looking forward to that first game, 17 days.